I hear from police regularly about catching the same criminal 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times.
Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. In today's top stories, we've got a police force in Ontario that is not happy with Justin Trudeau's policies. In fact, so much that they ripped Justin Trudeau. They wrote a letter, they did a press conference, the whole business. They are calling out Justin Trudeau for bad catch and release policies that are burdening the police across Canada. Next up, we have this along with the Paris Olympics. We've got the Canadian team, and here's what the Canadians are wearing. Could they not just wear like the old ones? It said Canada across it. It was red. It was Canada. It had some patriot look to it. This just looks like, what is this? I don't even. The Paris Olympics that's started up here, and we've got this clip which says the Olympic flame has arrived in Paris, France. No comment. And with the Paris Olympics, we've got this post, which is crazy. This is a team that I believe they're a cycling team. They were robbed. The Australian cycling team was robbed. Their match has been abandoned due to the V word. It sounds like violin. But they were able to find their gear because they had trackers on them.
So our van got broken into last night. Luckily my bikes weren't in there. Although my bike bags were in there with some things in it. Crazy start to the trip. Right, thank God for bag tags. We found our bags. All our stuff.
Massage table!
Yes! No way.
Oh my God. Jesus. Oh, look at all your tools on the ground. Your gloves.
Oh, bro. Look at all your shit.
They ate your jockeys. Oh. Make sure you sanitize that thing. I don't want to lay on that later.
Where's the other fucking helmet? Oh, bro, you got your lip stuff.
That's unreal. Just stuff everywhere. You can't even have the city like safe enough that people come in for the Olympics. Like, it's so bad. France has gone downhill so badly in the last year. Who else is not going to watch the Olympics? Yeah, that's me. I don't care. Not watching it. The Olympics in France look like they're taking place in DC, Oakland, or San Francisco. There's not going to be Olympics in France. Europe has fallen, a continent of cowards. Just let this happen. Shame. It's France. Seems about right. Sorry, I mean left. Next up, we've got a regional police force that is absolutely ripping Trudeau. What are we getting to now where we've got police forces naming Justin Trudeau and how bad his policies are? That's what we've got. Peel Regional Police Force. It says here, published an open letter today naming Justin Trudeau and his failures to fix his catch and release justice system that lets violin criminals and repeat offenders out on bail. Over half of the 15 individuals held in jail by police after their arrest are now out on bail. 6 of the 18 were already out on some other form of release when they were arrested. This is absurd. Trudeau's policies are so bad. So this is stated here in Brampton. The Peel Police Service Board proudly commends the Peel Regional Police on successful conclusion of the Project Warlock, a 6-month investigation targeting the rise in home invasions and carjackings in the region of Peel. And it says here there was 17 violent incidents, and they're targeting luxury vehicles that came to $1.2 million of vehicles. I believe, what does it say here? 12 vehicles. They're $100,000 a piece on average. They total $1.2 million in value, and with an additional $55,000 worth of stolen property that was reclaimed. So they've reclaimed some of this. They've got targeted 18 individuals connected to 17 violent incidents. What has come from all this? They get let out on bail. It says right here, repeat offenders, many out on bail, continue to pose a significant threat to the Peel residents. Leaves many victims feeling unsafe in their homes. The Peel Police Service Board has been vocal in calling for comprehensive bail reform. In numerous letters to the Prime Minister, Justice Minister, and Public Safety Minister, we have emphasized that the current bail system in Canada must prioritize public safety and the protection of the victims. We advocate for legislative changes that expand reverse onus offenses for chronic violent offenders, including those charged with illegal firearm possession, violin home invasions, and intimate partner violin. Sorry, I gotta say violent. Imagine that. You've got a police force calling out Justin Trudeau and how bad their policies are. And now we've got a clip of them talking about this. It says nearly all firearms that are used in carjackings and home invasions are illegal firearms that are illegally smuggled through the US. And yet Justin Trudeau wants to take away the guns from all the law-abiding Canadians.
Access to illegal firearms is becoming too prevalent. This year alone, our police service has seized almost 200 illegal firearms. On average, that's one per day. And nearly all of the firearms that are used in carjackings and home invasions are illegal firearms that are illegally smuggled through the US.
Trudeau needs to make illegal guns illegal.
Piece of a large puzzle that counteracts crime. But by making guns something that we can track, I mean, the fear in here is that the first step towards registering your guns is just the first step towards taking away guns from everyone. That's never going to happen, it's 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 never going to happen.
People post like the most random clips in the comments. That's why the one thing I like about X. Canadian police are weak and ineffective lapdogs of the elite ruling class. I mean, I think there's two tiers of police. There's the police that are higher up, closer to Trudeau. They have a lot of power. And then you got police lower down who just have to do their job. You know, and it's a tough job these days based on how many people coming in that are committing crimes in Canada because of Trudeau's policies. We've got one more clip here on Project Warlock. Which is what we were just talking about with the Peel police force. Brampton Graham is calling out Justin Trudeau for revolving door justice system after a massive crime ring bust caught multiple repeat offenders.
When I was briefed on Project Warlock, I was dismayed to hear that several of the suspects in custody were arrested while out on bail. And this is a story that residents are sick and tired of hearing. Repeat and violent offenders who continue to walk our streets because of the revolving door justice system. I hear from police regularly about catching the same criminal 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. And to hear that today police are arresting the same people who've already been previously arrested breaks my heart. Project Warlock involves 18 arrests, 150 criminal code charges laid. That's 17 violent home invasions, armed robberies, and carjackings, guns and knives used against innocent people. Shame on our society if these individuals are allowed out on bail to do it again. I understand that it's the role of judges to interpret the law and make rulings. It's not a politician's business to get involved, fine. But the criminal code that they're interpreting is written by politicians, specifically the federal politicians that we have in Ottawa. Premier Ford wrote a letter over a year and a half ago, signed by all 13 provinces and territories in Canada, calling on Prime Minister Trudeau to implement meaningful bail reform. We have continued to see a revolving door justice system ever since. We've heard from the police on this, but put yourself in the victim's shoes. Imagine an armed scumbag breaks into your home, puts a gun to your head. Police do their jobs and catch the guy who did it. You expect him to go to jail, only you see him at the gym the next day because the lax criminal code let him out on bail. Enough is enough. Ontario has done its part. Peel has done its part. Peel Police, they've gone above and beyond what anybody could reasonably expect of them. We need the federal government to do their part. Let's make it happen.
I mean, if Justin Trudeau wanted the system to be functioning well for citizens, he would have designed it that way. The Liberals have designed it to work like it is now. That's what they want. They want these criminals, for whatever reason, to be let out on bail easily. That's how they wrote the system as it is. Canada has no viable judicial system. Good for him. The fault lies with the federal government. So next up, we got this article here. It says, so basically this little girl set up this lemonade stand and two boys showed up. I think they're 14 and 16, and they destroyed her stand and they robbed her. They robbed her with some pointy tools. So they did catch those guys. It's just like, what is going on in our country? The lemonade stands are getting robbed. So they interviewed the kid and she wants to have her own lemonade truck and she says she wants to be a millionaire. Like, she's going to probably be a good businesswoman at some point. And, you know, maybe this is a lesson she can carry forward and learn from, but it's like lemonade stands getting robbed, really? So we got this article here. It says, China aims to keep Melanie Joly in line. Is she even aware? I think we all have the same feeling around Melanie Joly. She's not exactly fit for the job of what she does here as a foreign affairs minister. She took some random trip over to China, just hardly even announced it, just disappeared, went over there. And so this says here, whenever a Canadian politician travels abroad, it's always useful to see how the foreign press reports on their trip. It helps one gain insight on how the host country really sees Canada and whether we are accomplishing anything or just shooting ourselves in the foot. Case in point, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's ill-fated jaunt to India in 2018. So that trip to India, that's the one where he's got all the photos of him wearing the turbans and the outfits and him dancing and doing all that stuff. I think he spent something like $2.3 million. It was in the millions. It was like millions of dollars he spent on that trip. It says here, which was panned by the Indian media for his Bollywood cosplay and photo ops with Sikh extremists. Not exactly the shining moment on the world stage, yeah. Same could be said about Global Affairs Minister Melanie Joly's recent visit to China, where while there was no fashion faux pas, Joly's trip to China exposed the current government's refusal to see China for what it is, a threat to the West and democracy order. Instead, Global Affairs crowned that Minister Joly's visit reaffirms that minister's commitment to pragmatic engagement with China, to security and stability, and enhance deep and historic to people's ties. This article goes on to basically say that's not how the Chinese press described it. It says not only has it not sent officials to visit China, it continues to provoke China. For such a country that has no intention of repenting, China needs to warn it. Things are not good between Canada and China. Next up in America, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. The president of Israel, Netanyahu, came to do a speech in America, and in retaliation, the Palestinian protesters, they took down the flag here in DC out front of this building and replaced it with a Palestinian flag, and then they burned the American flag. Ooh. Americans are very patriotic, especially with their flag. Burning it in front of their own building, I don't know, man. They also spray painted the Liberty Bell and defaced a bunch of stuff like they always do. So they're just cheering and it's peaceful here. There's other clips where they aren't peaceful and cops are brought out. I won't be showing those clips, but you can see those on my X account. If you want to see those, I reshare those. But I'm just showing you guys all the peaceful stuff here. Putting up a Palestinian flag outside of DC is wild. These people, wow. And here they are burning an American flag. That's not going to go over too well in America. I can only imagine. Okay, so I can't show you guys the comments on this one. I went through, there's a bunch of Americans sharing their opinions on it, and they're all very stern. That's the word we're going to use. Very stern responses. They do not like what has happened here. But one other clip I can show you is here. We've got the Liberty Bell. This is like no respect for this country. I like this comment here. My heart is just broken. We're just going to mute that. But I mean, look at this. Like, I don't know. I feel like America, their laws are quite a bit different about defacing historic monuments. In Canada, they seem to get away with it. There are some charges in Canada that are happening, but America, I don't feel like they're going to get away with this because there's footage of these people doing this stuff. So once again, I can't show you the comments on this video because the Americans have come out and they are not happy. More stern words, shall we say. Something else that is crazy that's going on is, it says here, I can't believe what I'm posting. Montreal Mayor Valérie Plante has extended city resources to T-word supporters to send these messages: Free Palestine, escalate now, globalize the Antifada. So the mayor is using taxpayer dollars to incite another October 7, but this time on a global level and in her own city. What we've got here is these street construction signs that are supposed to be like slow down or whatever, and they're using it to push politics and global agendas. This is crazy. If we scroll down, somebody posted a video of it here. This is not acceptable. Like, this is not what these are for. This is for public safety and driving on roads. I saw an interview today, which is shared on my X if you want to check it out. I can't show it on here. A guy in America went to one of these big rallies and talked to a whole bunch of Palestinians and asked them about, like, would you like to share the land over there in Gaza with Israel? Could you coexist, two-state? All of them were like, no, we want them gone. We want them, you know, like a bunch of bad words. They don't want anyone who's Jewish or from Israel to exist. And so it's a really bad situation where it's like they're butting heads. And one of the questions they asked was this: what does this Antifada mean? I've heard multiple interpretations of it, as it's kind of like a new word, but basically one of the Palestinian protesters said it's the V word, the violin word that I say here, the word that sounds like violin. without the lin on the end. So to have a sign that says globalize the violin is crazy in Canada. We've got this post here. It says U.S. senators sound alarm over Canada's acceptance of Gaza refugees. U.S. Senator Marco Rubio warned that Canada's initiative could give Palestinians with ties to T-word groups easy access to the United States. And I've seen this on multiple articles now. Basically, a lot of the bad T-word people are coming into Canada, and then they're coming from Canada down into the States to spread their bad tea. It says here that he warned could lead to an increased risk allowing individuals with ties to T-word to access the United States. It says the government of Canada announced its intent to increase the number of Gazans who will be allowed into the country under temporary special measures. We're deeply concerned and request heightened security by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security should any of them attempt to enter the United States at ports of entry as well as between ports of entry. Last month, Immigration Minister Mark Miller announced a 5-fold increase in the number of Gazan refugees led into Canada, upping the program's cap to 5,000 people. Government's initial cap on Palestinian refugees was 1,000. What's interesting too is Mark Miller announced some, lower numbers of people coming in, like, oh, they're going to limit the amount of foreign students and stuff. They've actually increased those numbers. They're actually going up, despite him saying he wants to bring a lot of those numbers down, the temporary workers and stuff. It's crazy. I'm sure some, maybe as the year goes forward, at the end of the year, we look back, maybe some of those numbers will be down. But right now, they're actually bringing in more people, even though they said they're going to be bringing in less. We've got a chart here of permanent residents admitted to Canada. I mean, that's why I keep saying in every video, why is there so many from India? Why does Trudeau want this many from one country? This should be like a straight line of all these countries. Philippines, which you guys can't see there, this is kind of a new one. This is, for the longest time, it was mainly China, followed by India. But we got a whole bunch of other countries that typically weren't coming to Canada, like Nigeria, Syria, Pakistan. Already jumping over to my group, let's see what memes we've got today. What would you prefer to see happen? Trudeau loses 2025 election in a landslide. Trudeau resigns in 2024 as a disgrace. This is an interesting, I'm going to take a look at the comments here. Should be arrested, investigated, and thrown in jail. Have a vote of no confidence and fall in both. Whatever is quicker. I'd love to see him call an election before Jagmeet gets his pension in February. That's the ultimate one. Have him call an election like the day before Jagmeet gets his pension. That would probably be the funniest situation. I prefer to see Trudeau lose in a landslide. If he resigns, some other liberal cough, Chrystia Freeland will just replace him. Interesting. So some people want to see him resign. Some people want to see him lose because that's where he's going to get his ego hit the most. 98% recognizes him, according to the report. Yeah, so as it says here, the fall would be hard. It's going to be hard either way, but if he resigns, then it's by choice, right? And if he wants to be on vacation so bad, he should just step down, raise his kid, live in Tofino. I mean, I guess he can't live in Tofino because Sophie's out in Ottawa. He has to live over there because joint custody or whatever, but still, he can fly out to Tofino every other month, surf with his kid, and just resign. He's got millions of dollars. He can just retire. The fact that he thinks that he works harder than all Canadians is ridiculous, like that interview you had. What Chinese product can you live without, Trudeau? The economy is going great. We created 5 million jobs this year. I have 3 of them, and I still can't pay my rent. This is Walmart, McDonald's, and Uber Eats. When you're on your first date and she says government is a mafia masquerading as a human rights organization. Should we try Greece for our 8-year anniversary? Why? What's wrong with Vaseline? Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought about a police force calling out Justin Trudeau. I mean, there's no limit to what the news holds these days with so many bad policies in Canada from Justin Trudeau. You got police calling him out, writing letters, delivering his public is wild. So thanks for watching the end of the video here. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Big thanks to all the people donating and all the channel members, all of that. I greatly appreciate it. We're going to keep fighting for freedom. I'll see you guys in the next one.